Hi there. Do you desire to save money, but you find it difficult saving money? This video is for you because in this video, I'm going to talk about how you can practically save upwards of 100,000 Kenya shillings in just 6 months. Yes, guys, it is possible. It calls for you to have discipline, dedication, and follow this plan. And be sure you're going to be able to save upwards of 100,000 Kenya shillings by the 6th month. You are all much welcomed to the Money Daily TV. My name is Afagza Sifunam. And with that, for you to be able to save 100K in 6 months, that tells you you need to save at least 16,667 Kenya shillings each and every month. And also, you need to be saving that at the equivalent of 550 shillings each and every day. I'm pretty sure why you are sitting and now realizing by the way it could be possible, because maybe you are looking at your household expenses, your daily expenses, and then you've realized it's normally upwards of 1,000 Kenya shillings, maybe upwards of 500 shillings, you name it. That tells you that it is very possible to save 100K Kenya shillings within 6 months. How do you go about it? Guys, the very first and important thing that I've said is you setting a target. Okay? Are you saving, for example, the bare minimum, which is at least 550 Kenya shillings each and every day, assuming you are earning by the day? Basically, you are getting wages. Or even so, if you are earning by the month, are you going to save at least 16,667? Because 16K667 times 6 months hits exactly 100K Kenya shillings. In fact, if it's possible for you, you could even take it a notch higher. For example, aim to save at least 20K Kenya shillings each and every month. And with that, you can even save upwards of 120K by the end of the 6th month. Set a target and then work with that target. And I'm saying so because it is very important for you to set a target. Out here, people have ambitions, people have dreams, but with no target, chances are you won't be able to achieve your goal. Start with a very clear target, a realistic target, and get to it. And by the way, guys, I am using the 100K figure as a hypothetical figure. You could even aim to save 10K by the end of the 6th month. You could aim to save 1 million by the end of the 6th month. The most important thing is for you to have a target as a starting point, and then you pick it from there. Okay? Then secondly, you need to create a backbone budget. What do I mean? If you have an ambition, if you have a target, but you don't have a plan on how you're going to reach the target, chances are you're going to fail along the way. That's why it is important to create a backbone budget. Basically, how you're going to track your incomes and expenses using whichever thing you're comfortable with out there. Whether it is you writing in a notebook because you are comfortable tracking your budget in a traditional way. Maybe you using Google Sheets, spreadsheet, you name it. Or even you capitalizing on technology to use applications like, for example, even Tala, Branch, all these different applications out there have a budgeting function. You could look to utilize these applications to also assist you track your budget digitally, and even these apps can assist you have a way of gaining insights into your progress, whether you've saved more, whether you've reached your threshold, and also give you tactics or tips on how to save much faster. The most important thing is for you to have a budget, and also in that budget, start thinking about how, for example, you can be able to manage your expenses. For example, limit the food which you are incurring cost of through takeout foods. Maybe limit impromptu purchases you are doing, and even so, limit non-essential subscriptions. Because maybe you have subscribed to Netflix, which could be charging you even 300 shillings each and every month, or whichever amount of money, and yet you barely watch your television. By you budgeting, you're going to think very well about all the expenses which you are incurring and only maintain those essential expenses. And talking about expenses, the third tip which you need to have in mind is that you need to cut or even to replace your daily spending habits. Guys, daily spending habits accumulate to monthly spending habits, and monthly spending habits accumulate to the annual spending habits, which in essence define your lifestyle. You could be out there, for example, living beyond your means, competing with peers out there on the day to day living, and yet your ability or the money you are getting dictates that, for example, you live in a different way. By you checking and cutting or replacing your daily spending habits is going to go a long way in ensuring that you realize your saving goal. What do I mean? For example, you are used to each and every day lunchtime, maybe going out there to buy food at 300 shillings. You could think about, for example, carrying food to work, or even so, sometimes intermittent fasting could assist you. And with that, you might end up saving that money which you would else have used to buy lunch out there. Okay? Another example, maybe you are in that country or economy where spending money on coffee is something which you do regularly. Maybe each and every week you spend $4, $5, 300 shillings, 400 shillings on coffee. Why not cut on that? You could make your home brewed coffee and even carry it to work. And look at it this way. Nowadays, we have those cups which even hold drinks hot for many hours. Maybe with just a budget of 2 weeks, you could get yourself a very decent coffee cup which can assist you hold your coffee hot for many hours. And then you could be brewing your coffee at home and carrying it while commuting to work. And that is just going to assist you save money which you will else have spent on coffee. Okay? Maybe another expense which you're incurring each and every day could be maybe you spending 100, 200 shillings on border rides just because you don't feel like walking. What if you use an alternative? For example, you walking because it's actually good for you to exercise, or even so, you using matatu, which is much cheaper. A place which on border you could spend maybe 100 shillings, on a matatu maybe you will just spend 20 shillings. And with that, you will save a good chunk of money, which is gonna go a long way to assisting you with that towards your saving goal. So think about cutting or even so greatly reducing your daily spending habits, and that's gonna go a long way towards assisting you manage your expenses. Okay? And then the fourth tip for you, which is gonna be very handy when it comes to saving 100K by the 6th month, is you increasing your income. I know out here there are two schools of thought. The first school of thought is that we need to live minimalistic life, whereby we save almost the entire amount of money we are getting, or even so aim to limit our expenses so that we can be able to invest etc. And also the other school of thought is that instead of you interfering with your quality of life, why not think about increasing your incomes? And that's why it is also important for you to think about increasing your incomes by, for example, starting side hustles. Maybe side hustles which don't require for you to put in effort. Maybe things like, for example, affiliate marketing, selling maybe second-hand clothes out there, maybe creating your own content, which can give you flexibility to do that as you're doing your full-time job. Alternatively, you could think about weekend gigs. Maybe you are doing DJing, or you're passionate about DJing, passionate about photography, passionate about driving, and you have a vehicle. You could even jump on doing Bolt or Uber during the weekend for you to be able to make extra income. And even so, a conventional way out there also you could jump onto is you doing online gigs. Basically, online works out there, like transcription. You could look to jump on that and be able to make extra income. The goal is for you to utilize your abilities, your skills, or even the assets you have. Simple asset like, for example, even a smartphone, for you to be able to make extra income. And be sure with just a simple increase like of even 5K to 20K each and every month, you can't just be able to work better towards achieving this saving target. Or even so, you could end up raising the threshold of the amount you aim to achieve by the 6th month. And then the last tip which I have for you is that you need to put your money where it is hard for you to retrieve. What do I mean? If you're starting out saving, chances are it's going to be a very tempting thing for you. Look at it this way. For example, if you are saving money on M-Pesa, chances are you will end up using that money. If you are saving money in hard cash, chances are you'll end up using that money. It isn't because you are a bad person. It's just because human appetite is insatiable, and once we see cash, we might think about utilizing it. That's why if you're starting out saving, it is important for you to try and put your money where it is hard for you to reach. For example, instead of having money on M-Pesa, think about pushing your money maybe on M-Shwari or even KCB wallet. Instead of having your money in cash or even accessible, think about pushing it in a circle out there, or even so, push your money in money market funds, and at the end it's gonna make it very hard for you, or even so, slightly hard for you to access. And if you think about the hassle of going to a circle to withdraw your money, etc., it's gonna just make you continue on that trajectory of saving. That's why when you're starting out, it is also important for you to put your money where it is hard for you to access, and that's gonna assist you develop the saving discipline. Guys, do you think these tips are practical? By the way, what is your saving target for the year 2025? Do you have a target of 10K, 50K, 100K, 1 million, 10 million? Share with us down below in the comment section. Share with us and let's continue discussing there. Cheers, guys, and you all stay safe.